Hi, I'm Michelle Cromer.
I'm Perla Mandalaya.
And y'all have tuned in to our podcast, Creating a Meaningful Life, where we ask ourselves big questions and we search for meaningful answers. We're talking about death today. My favorite topic, actually.
Thinking like ghosts and stuff?
Yeah, do you believe in ghosts?
Oh, yeah.
I do too. But we're going to talk about dead people.
Yeah.
Specifically, I don't know if y'all know this, but there is a town in New York City in the state of New York called Lilydale. And since 1879, they have said that it is the town that sees dead people.
Have you been there?
I have been there.
Of course you have.
Yeah, and come to find out, you have to take a test if you want to be a medium in that town. It's a big deal if you pass these tests because you have to really prove your skill set. So I went up on a really hot, humid, upstate New York day, and it's not that I don't believe the dead can't come back, but it was so humid. Why would they want to? I mean, it was horrifying. I was sweating my guts out there. So it's this quaint little Victorian town, and that particular day, they had a speaker named James Van Praagh. Do you know him?
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows him.
Yeah, he's very famous for being able to speak to the dead. And what had happened for me at this particular time, I had a daughter that died, and I was with a friend of mine whose mother had just died, my writing coach, Francine. So I wanted to go because I wanted to write about it, but also I had a dog in that race, because even if you think you know what happens when you die, we don't have a B-roll. Nobody really knows. I mean, I've studied theology and comparative religion. I know what religions say, but until you're stuck in a moment, when you're trapped in that space where you've lost someone and your heart goes with them, it's extremely challenging. I get that. So we arrive on this very hot, humid day, very small town, and James Van Praagh is in this gigantic outdoor theater. There was a roof, but no sides, so that the wind. And I want to tell you, Pearl, out of the very back. And his eyes were the color of my wall back here. They were so blue, I could see them from that distance. And it was just hundreds of people there, and people were asking him questions. And this one woman, oh my gosh, she stands up and she says, she starts screaming at him like, I want to know what happened to my daughter's murderers. And he was so calm. And he looked at her and he said, your daughter doesn't care. Why do you care? And she said, I want justice, revenge and all of that. And I get that. And he said, she's in a better place. And this is not your story. This is not your question to ask. And just so politely and respectfully moved on. What do you think about happens to us when we die?
I think we go on to a better place, another adventure, something really a lot better than where we're at here.
Yeah, I think so too. And I do believe that we're able to come back to our funerals. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think, why would you want to? But yes, I do think so.
Yeah, I think not for a long time. I mean, time is, something that we invented here. I mean, who knows what happens when you die? I mean, there is no time. But I do think that you're able to go and say, oh my God, look at that woman. Even in death, look at that woman had on at my funeral. She couldn't put it together better than that. I don't remember this. I don't want anywhere wearing black at my funeral. I want pinks and I want purples and I want, because to your point, I feel like we have gone on to something else that we can't even imagine, or we would all be so desperate to get there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very sad to the point of all of these people in Lilydale, they so desperately wanted a sign
from someone.
Or proof that there was, and that's where, faith comes in. And you and I have had many discussions about seeing someone after they die in dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And just I'll give you a quick story about my father. We always had a symbol. Like when someone's going to die, I always say to my family or friends, when you get over there and it's okay, could you just let me know that you're there? And, we come up with some sort of sign. Well, my father was born and raised in Galveston, Texas. And he was in the war and he had a stingray tattoo on his arm. And so he said, well, okay, it's going to be a stingray. I'm like, okay. So Daddy unexpectedly dies. Sign me up for that death. One day to the next. He's healthy. He's happy. He just doesn't wake up. Smile on his face. And I wait. And I wait. And I wait. And I wait. And I live in El Paso, Texas. Where am I going to see a stingray? I mean, I have stingray boots, but that didn't count. So out in the middle of, just nothing. My friend Harl that lives in Cabo sends me a video in slow motion, hundreds of stingrays coming out of the water. And I just lost it because I knew my father had made it. And I called Harlan. I go, why did you send that to me? He goes, I have no idea. I just knew I needed to. Sometimes we are used to help people. And if you have the self-confidence and the self-esteem just to send that video or that, I think it really helps
Just
people.
do it. Yeah, it just when you get the feeling you have to do something, do it. Help spirit along.
And I do believe there are people that have the ability to communicate with the dead. And they can be of service in the short term, allowing people to make that transition. And I always tell people, in the case of Catalina, my daughter, it's a lot like losing your left arm. You could survive without your left arm, but every day your left arm is gone. And that's kind of that. But we all have to lean into our grief. We're a grief illiterate society. We don't even know what that means. I wrote a book about, my first book, Exit Strategy, Thinking Outside the Box, was a lighthearted look at creative burial options. I was so detached from my grief for my daughter. I didn't even know how to grieve. So I wrote a hilarious book that became a bestseller. So whatever it is that you have to do to make that journey, it's personal. So at the very end of James Van Praagh's wonderful lecture, Francine and I were walking back to the car, and there was this woman on a bench, and she was just bawling her eyes out and bawling her eyes out. And so Francine got on her knees, and she looked up and she said, can I hold the space with you? What happened? And she said, my father died. And she said, oh, when did he die? And the woman said, 7 years ago. Well, Francine's mom had died 2 weeks before that. And she got up and she patted the woman on the shoulder and off we went. And that's when I realized there's so many people really become and allow that victim archetype to be animated, and it becomes their story.
No, yeah. They suffer way too much.
And I think that, certainly losing a child is beyond, there is no vocabulary for that. Losing parents, I think that's, it was tough for me to lose my mother and father. We were very close. That's sort of the pecking order, that's going to happen. Never lost someone like a spouse or, anything like that. I'm sure that is very difficult. But I think death requires that we take time and forgive ourselves for whatever we need to concerning that relationship. And to your point, Perla, just know that they're in a, some place that we can't even imagine. Do you think
so much better?
Do you think we see each other after we die?
Oh yeah, I think we wait for each other. I think I've seen instances where I think that when a person dies, the families are waiting for them.
How about our pets?
Oh yeah, I see my pets.
Yeah,
I see my pets.
I don't think it's heaven without my pets.
Yeah.
I wrote a book called a children's book. It Snows in Heaven, about our dog Smokey that died. And this little girl stands up because her mother had put her up to it, and in my book reading, and she says, my mom says pets can't go to heaven because they don't have souls. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, a quote that I heard, if our pets don't go to heaven, I don't want to go there. So I truly believe that. I think they're waiting for us.
I think heaven is when you see your pets running towards you that you've had. And I would look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you feel like it, Lilydale, New York, it might be the place for you. If you really recently had someone that died, I will say those mediums are good, and they do know what they're doing, and they've had to pass tests, and it's been there since 1879. So there's something to be said for that. And I would also stand there in gratitude that you were able to share this person's life, and that maybe this is the point where you release them and wish them well.
Because they want you to live a beautiful life. And they don't want you there grieving for them.
I think that's true. A lot of people, I did some research on deathbeds. That's what they say. Be happy. Go on with your life. Do your thing. And instinctively, right? And how many times have we heard stories where people are dying, and all of a sudden the person that's dying looks up and raises their hands.
Yes.
Like they can't even wait to go, or they start talking to people that have already dead and they're laughing. I don't know, feel bad. I've had we got off the boat in New Orleans, so I have a lot of, there's a lot of that kind of history with my family, and there's no doubt in my mind that death is not a noun, it is a verb, and we go on to something else. And Lily Dale, New York, may help you if you're stuck in that victim archetype, if you're ready to release the need to, like that woman, know what happened to your loved one or know where your loved one is, and just sit in that moment of wonder and curiosity. Well, we are delighted that you're here. If you like this video, we would just like it and share it, and please come back.
Yes.
And we always want you to think deeply,
Speak gently,
love much,
laugh a lot,
work hard,
give freely.
and for goodness sake, be kind.
Yeah.
See y'all next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.